Meeting for September 2nd, 2014. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Aaron? Here. Camerer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Ranke?
Here.
Shipman? Absent. President Wallace?
Here. Now I've asked Pastor Darrell Malcolm to give our invocation this evening.
Let me say just a moment, I'm glad to be here. I've been a resident of Carroll Stream since '86, but I've spent a lot of time in Bartlett. I've been with Poplar Creek Church since '92 and a part of the Chamber of Commerce for about 20 years, so I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be here because we're commanded to pray for you. Paul wrote to Timothy, I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings, that's where you fit in maybe at this point, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This is good and pleases God, our Savior. Our Father in heaven, we come to you as the great and holy God, the ruler of the universe. Nothing escapes your presence and your care. We also know that nothing worthwhile is going to be accomplished without your permissive will. And so I'm grateful that we can pause and look to you. I thank you for the men and women that serve in these various roles of responsibility for the village of Bartlett. There's some look on them and think they're just places of honor and prestige, and yet they see them as responsibilities with long hours and difficult decisions and often alienating people, and a great need for discernment and wisdom in all they're doing. And so we come asking for your presence and your guidance. I pray that the decisions made tonight will be good for the citizens of Bartlett and bring joy to those who make them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Darrell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent is kind of a mess, isn't it? Next item on our agenda here is the consent. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed in the general order of business and considered appropriate time on the agenda. I'm made aware of a late addition for amplifier permit, I think. So I would entertain a motion to amend the consent agenda, including the amplifier permit.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Camerer, seconded by Trustee Aaron's. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranke?
Yes.
That motion carries. At this point, is there anything anybody would like to remove or add to the consent agenda?
I would like to remove the bill list from the consent agenda.
Trustee Carbonaro is requesting to remove the bills list from the consent agenda, at which time, when we get to the bills list, he will recuse himself from the vote. Is that correct?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. So I'll need a motion to remove the bills list from the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Ranke, seconded by Trustee Martin. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranke?
Yes.
That motion carries. Now the bills or the consent agenda will include the minutes, this new amplifier permit request for the Jane Society, Bartlett High School Student Council Homecoming Parade request, Bartlett High School Student Council Fireworks Display request, and Internet auction of surplus equipment. Entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
Well moved. Second.
It's moved by Trustee Camerer, seconded by Trustee Martin. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranke?
Yes. That motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills list.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Aaron, seconded by Trustee Martin. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Abstain.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky.
Yes. The motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the Treasurer's Report. Mr. Martinowicz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start out this evening with the sales tax allotment report through June of 2014. Sales tax represents $380,952 and is a 3.07% increase from the same time period last year. Moving on to the motor fuel tax allotment report through July 2014. Current year-to-date revenue is $276,793, and it represents a 6.58% increase from the same time period last year.
Thank you, Mr. Martinowicz. There's none under President's Report this evening. Question and answer period. Is there any questions the board has at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the town hall portion of the meeting. At this stage in the meeting, we invite anyone who would like to address the board to step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
I have a question, if it would be appropriate to address the item C, the President's veto of Ordinance 2014-63 at this time, or would you defer it till that topic
Till
comes
it's
up?
on the agenda, yeah.
Okay.
Name and address.
Yeah, your name and address, sir?
Paul Miller, Elburn, Illinois. Was that the address you wanted?
Yeah. Well, your street address.
Okay. Oh, 0S645 Bunker Road.
If you have general comments about it, we could hear them now.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Because there won't be any back and forth during the regular board meeting.
Okay. Well, then I would like to make a statement if I could. I'm Paul Miller, a broker with the Sullivan Agency, who currently writes the Blue Cross coverages for the Village of Bartlett and have done so since 1991, December 1st, when it was initially implemented. And I would like to stand here in support to sustain the mayor's veto. And to clarify some of the things, the fact that the Village of Bartlett's current plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield is highly transparent, providing more than 100 pages of detail claims experience every single month that shows every claim, its category, where it sits to a benchmark of other Blue Cross group plans, and also the renewal report that comes in about the middle of September for our December renewal also shows great detail of claim experience, how they promulgate their rates through projected claims, and also delineate every single expense on that report and justify where it goes. The fact that they measure to a 9.25% expense ratio, meaning that no more than 9.25% of the entire premium paid goes to administrative expenses, including commissions paid to the Sullivan Agency. And as a matter of fact, over the last 3 years, that's generated between 2010, 11, and 12 renewals of 2%, 3.8%, and 2.6%. And a review of the current claims reports, it appears the village is having another very good year and may experience the same kind of a renewal. I do meet on occasion, and with the Human Resource Department at the village, make recommendations based on those claims reports and have done so on a number of occasions. The benefit plan is one that is rather rich and has in the past directed some employees to be less than the ultimate consumer of health care services. An example I presented to the board in my letter was the fact that the PPO has no emergency room copay, meaning that the PPO members can go to the emergency room, have the bill paid at 100%, rather than go to their primary care physician or a family physician or a doctor and be subject to those claims to the $250 deductible. So we're kind of motivating people in the wrong direction, and that's evidenced by the claims reports where we see the high frequency of emergency reuse. So that was one of those recommendations, along with the HMO having no office copays or differential in copays for primary care physicians or specialists, which all plans have today. As a matter of fact, there really hasn't been a plan change to the HMO or the PPO since about 2001 or 2. Although I have made those recommendations and have priced those on a number of occasions, showing the percentage of savings by adjusting copays and such. Also mentioned dependent contributions. The Village of Bartlett currently has like 42 employee single coverages and 123 family coverages. Most carriers or most groups today are doing employee audits, and if they find where an employee's spouse has available coverage through their employer's plan, they request that they obtain that coverage through their employer or pay a higher percentage of the total premium, which could save the village hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this isn't unique and has been supported by DOL law rulings over the last 7 or 8 years. The emergency utilization I just mentioned. RX copays. It was my recommendation in April, and it has been for a number of years, to stop the reimbursement of the RX copays. Currently on the HMO at $3 generic, $8 brand name, and $23 non-formulary, and $5, $10, and $25 on the PPO. A reimbursement of those copays at 100% by the village doesn't motivate anybody to get a prescription alternative like a generic, as most of us may have experienced.
We're getting well over the 3 minutes, but
Okay, sorry.
we appreciate all the information. I might suggest next time you see something on a committee level, that's when we go back and forth with those facts.
Right.
So that would have been good information to have when this was on the original committee.
Right.
But thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Shannon Burns, Forest Preserve District of DuPage County. We're on Naperville Road in Wheaton. I'm the Forest Preserve Commissioner for District 6 in DuPage County. Nice to see you again. Yeah. My intention in getting elected has always been to be accountable to the public, and I've written an annual report. I wanted to give just some brief highlights. I'm going to try very hard to stay close to 3 minutes. It's unfortunate that this is an election year, because I realize that everything I say is seen through the glasses of re-election. But watch, I'll be here next year when it's not an election year with my second annual report. The Forest Preserve does 3 main things: land management, fiscal management of the money that we take in, and then be involved with the public. Virtually everything that we do can be combined under those 3 categories. Under land management, the most important thing I think that we did in this past year on the board was vote to buy some land. 38 acres of land, small parcels throughout, but they connect trails and they connect other preserves. And right now, that's the kind of land we're looking to buy. The other thing that we have done is work very well with communities such as Bartlett on the Brewster Creek project to maximize what the land can do for the public. I'm the only one on the board who's got any natural resource management certification or experience, and I've taken some more classes to further my education. But the most interesting thing I did under land management this year was I took a 2-day, 120-mile bike trip around DuPage County, and I camped overnight at Blackwell. And I did that because I wanted to see what the trails were like. And in January, I'm going to be coming around talking some more about the trail connections. What I discovered is that every place, Bartlett has good maps, good markings on their trails, and the Forest Reserve has good markings on their trails, but every place there's a junction between the county and the city, or the trail markings fall down. And, you know, signs are probably the cheapest thing we can talk about putting up, so I'm hoping to coordinate that. Fiscal responsibility, one of the most interesting things the Forest Reserve did in the last 2 years, we have started looking for ways that we can generate non-property tax dollars internally to do restoration projects. One of these is we can restore wetlands, then sell those wetland credits to get more money to restore more wetlands, so that we can keep the cycle going without using property tax dollars. Every time we restore a wetland, it reduces flooding. It's just that simple. The other thing related to fiscal responsibility is, for the first time ever this year, the Forest Preserve Board has passed a budget that's based on expense-based or historical spending. Unbelievably, we've always had a budget that was based on how much can we take in, we'll spend that much. Better to think about what we need and how we can steward that better. Public involvement, we now have 4 evening board meetings that are regularly scheduled instead of 0, which is nice. So and every time we have an evening meeting, it's standing room only. So you got to come check us out sometime. We have one coming up in the fall. We also have an ethics committee that's populated and actually up and running. We didn't have that before. And we have, best of all, this took almost a year and a half to get the full board to approve it, but we now have online video meetings, so you can go online and see everything that we're doing all of the time. And related to public involvement, I've been promoting, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm working hard to get a volunteer neighborhood group that would allow for people who are adjacent to the forest preserves to go into a certain amount into the preserves next to their land and do some simple restoration work like cutting buckthorn. 50% of the forest preserve land is in DuPage County or is in District 6, and 50% of the people in District 6 abut forest preserve land in some way, and we have to do a better job of working with people to be better neighbors. So in my report is my personal phone number and my personal email. Feel free to get in touch if you have questions or there's anything you want to talk about, or if you have like a great idea to propose, I will entertain that. I know you all get 1 million reports, but, you know, of course, we all think mine is most interesting. If you get a minute to glance at it, I'd be happy to hear anything that you want to know more about what commissioners do at the Forest Reserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for sharing that information. Anybody else like to address the board at this time? Hearing none, we will move on to the standing committee reports. First standing committee report is Planning and Zoning, Chairman CAMERER.
Thank you, Mr. President. However, this evening we have nothing to report in Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Chairman CAMERER. Next on the agenda is Building Committee, Chairman Martin.
I have no report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Martin. Then standing committee reports, Finance and Golf Committee, Chairman Ranke.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 items on the Finance and Golf Committee this evening. First is the reconsideration and override of the Village President's veto of Ordinance 2014-63, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of the contract and bylaws document of the Intergovernmental Personnel Benefit Cooperative and authorizing membership in the IPBC by a municipality. We're not required to make this motion, which we'll talk, I guess, more about if someone does make this motion, but I'll entertain a motion to approve the override of the veto.
Second.
I didn't make the motion. I'll entertain the motion.
Entertaining a motion. He did not make the motion. So somebody needs to make the motion.
I thought it was up to the president to do that.
Usually, but when this item came up the first time, Trustee Ranke, probably because he didn't agree with this particular ordinance, actually entertained a motion. And it was moved by someone else originally to approve it. So somebody needs to make the motion. So you're making a motion?
Yes.
Moved by Trustee Aaron, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Is there any discussion?
Let me just say procedurally.
That's what you're good at.
Okay, it has been vetoed. The mayor does not have to sign an ordinance that he disapproves of, and then he returns it unsigned with a veto message, which you've all been furnished. For this original ordinance to pass, it would require the vote of 2/3 of the trustees to pass it, which would override the mayor's veto. That means it would require 4 trustees to approve it despite the mayor's veto. So there's a motion and a second, and after discussion and a roll call, for it to be overridden, it would require 4 A votes.
The motion on the table, though, is
to override the veto.
So a vote in the affirmative is a vote to override the veto, that is to obligate the village to join the cooperative.
That's correct.
And a vote in the negative, then, is to keep the village president's veto in force.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I think everybody knows where I'm going on this one. I voted against the measure in the first place. I'm going to vote against the overriding veto. I think we need to explore our insurance options and do everything we can to save the taxpayers as much money as we can, while at the same time providing good quality health care coverage for our employees.
Is there any other discussion?
I also plan not to vote to override the veto, simply because I believe that we didn't give enough due diligence to allowing other companies within Bartlett to, or in the surrounding areas, to have an opportunity to bid on this and to see if they could offer us quality health care as well.
So what timeline are we talking? Are we going to wait 6 more months, or are we going to get this on the agenda next time?
As soon as we can.
Okay.
And just to, I mean, I wrote it fairly clearly here, but not everybody is privy to the information here, I guess, unless they look up the packet. But I believe it was the ultimate intention to save the village money with options. And, you know, it may very well come to pass that PBC is the best choice, but I think that choice was kind of taken away from the board a little bit by just giving us one plan. So that was the idea, is to have some options, show some potentially show some significant savings with you know, with some plan changes. I think the gentleman in the audience today recommended some very basic plan changes that can be significant savings. So that's what I would like to see when we come back, and I think that that's what your intention, the staff's intention is as well.
That's correct. We've already contacted both Mr. Miller's firm as well as the other local agency, and not only will be getting some numbers, but I think from the Sullivan agency there's some different options about structuring it that they'll be providing us with as well.
Okay. Thank you. Any other further discussion? The clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Aaron's. Could we go over if you vote yes or
If you vote
no?
yes,
Then
you're
I
voting to override the veto and stick with the original
No.
of the ordinance. Okay.
Camerer.
No.
Carbonaro.
No.
Martin.
No.
Ranky.
Absolutely not.
Motion carries.
Okay.
And then Trustee Martin asked a little bit about time. Like, do we have that? Did you get an answer?
Soon, that's what CAMERER said.
So will we have some numbers for the next committee?
I would doubt that we would. The agenda for the next committee goes out in, 9 days. And I think we want to understand the numbers, go through the numbers, and make presentation to the board that are comprehensive. So I would guess not, but certainly as soon as possible.
But in terms of an overall time frame, open enrollment begins at the end of the year, December?
Yes, but we're able to make those kinds of changes, whatever the board would like to do now.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
And we're also going to still invite the IPBC also, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, not just the new people. That's fine.
I think we'll benefit from competition in the marketplace.
The competition's good.
Okay, great. Communities of Distinction Show Agreement, which is item C2. I'll entertain a motion on that as well.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Aaron's and seconded by Trustee Camerer regarding the resolution approving the participation agreement between the Village of Bartlett and Communities of Distinction Production Company. Is there any discussion at this point?
Well, I have a number of questions for, and I'm not sure who to direct these to. Is this a Jim or a Valerie thing?
Is Terry Bradshaw in the audio?
I didn't see him.
He didn't come?
He didn't come, no.
We'll give it a shot.
Maybe if we paid a little more, he would come.
A lot more.
The
Okay,
mayor
so
might be able to answer a few questions, too, since I think he initiated the discussion. This group came to him and looked interesting, and he sent it to us, and we've gone from there.
Yeah. I think one of the questions I had, Trustee Ranke, for this, basically it's public relations, really. It's good for business in town, I think. It's a great way to get our name out in a large way. The show is aired on Discover Channel. You can see there different local channels. And frankly, I was mostly interested when I talked to these folks about how we even got on their radar. And a lot of that's attributed to National Night Out. A lot of it's attributed to showing up as the fourth safest place in our category. And there's additional ways that we came to be on at least their radar. And they do call, I'm sure they call hundreds. So I just wanted to take it the first step, see what the board thought about it, see if they think it's worthy of the PR that we had received from it. It's a 5-minute video that airs live. And it's all about what makes us unique about business. We're actually in What is the topic again, Jim, that we're...
It's called the Emerging
Places to Live.
Correct.
The Emerging Places to Live.
And one of
Even
the
though we've
things
been
that I
around
think
for
is...
120 years, yeah.
We're just emerging now.
One of the things I think is unique about this is it isn't just the Village of Bartlett that they will be focusing on. They will talk to our companies. We'll give them a list of companies in town that they might, industries, products, and the individuals that make this place thrive. And so I think that focuses it from the village government and really focuses on our community itself.
My only concern is, you said there were hundreds, but how many other people are we going to be, after 5, people might...
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I'm not sure about that, Greg.
Well, no, I mean, I'm all for advertising.
Yeah.
And advertising
I'm
with my
saying
agent.
I don't know the answer to the question. I don't know how many there are.
It just, before we write the check, just ask them.
My big question dovetailed with Trustee Martin's question. Do we have an idea of the demographics of who's going to actually see this program? I mean, is this going to hit if this is advertising, we need to understand who our target is, and is this the most cost-effective way of hitting that target? So who are we hitting, and are we going to bring those people here?
I don't think it gets us on the Super Bowl commercials.
Right, yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Not at that price.
They list the networks that it could be on, and then you work with them and you select different markets that you want to be on. They give you a list of cities and metropolitan areas, and then that's where they target where you would like to show this and have it in those particular areas. So, the Fox network, the ION, the Discovery Channel, but then you pick the different municipal markets you want to show. And obviously they told us, you have to really research that, because we would look at areas, obviously, where we're attracting business, other communities where people might come from, those kinds of things. So they work with you and you're part of the production. It's not just you say, okay, we're writing you a check, and the next thing we hear, we see a 5-minute video. They're integrated into the community, and as Valerie said, they'll talk to local businesses. They'll probably talk to the park districts, the other taxing districts, some of the unique features that are in the community.
With that 19.8, that's just for the video, though. So is there enough, do we have the cost of how many times we want it to play on Fox, how much that is? I mean, the media buy, do we have that?
I think that's covered in the 19.8. It says you get 1 time and then 19 times regionally. 1 time on Discovery and 19 times regionally. That's what you get for your 19.8.
It's my understanding, too, that the materials are then given to the village to use as we wish. So we can use the video, we can roll it, scroll it, however we want to use it. Yeah, it's a professionally shot video that's going to be broadcast for basically free, and then we get to use the video whenever we want. Then it's given to us. Our IT department can use it however they want.
You can see some videos that they've taken of other towns on their website. Steamboat Springs, Colorado comes to mind. That's the one I watched. I don't know why, I just watched that one. But there were some other towns there.
Well, I read the contract, the participation agreement, and there wasn't an awful lot of detail here. I imagine that the village attorney, actually I'm surprised to see him on his feet after having read this agreement. So as I read it, and of course I can't render legal advice, but paragraph 3 says we get 20 showings, which works out to be about $990 per showing, per 5-minute showing. And then there's this notion of the combination of ABC, Fox, and ION. It doesn't say in the agreement that they're going to work with us to pick which broadcast stations. I'm sure that's what they told us, but that's not in the agreement, unless I missed it, which is possible. We've got this, we have to mutually agree on the locations, the subject matter, the story, and the script. So we don't have ultimate say over what the script is going to be. We have to sign off on it,
Yes,
which is not the same thing.
Right. We
That's
give
right.
input to them, but they have a professional script writer prepare it. Correct.
Okay. Have we explored the idea of how much it would cost to produce our own infomercial?
Actually, that's one of the issues that we're doing, you'll recall that from the strategic plan, the board wanted some real stepped-up advertising. So we've been working for the last 6 months with a local company to do an ad that features, the mayor talking about different things in town, and we're pretty well through that process. And this kind of came up at the last minute for you folks to take a look at, but we are doing our own, Trustee Ranke. It's going to cost, we think, about $13,000.
How long is that ad?
I beg your pardon?
How long is the one you're doing?
5 minutes.
I think if I recall, we were talking about trying to do a chopped one that would be a short little YouTube-ish.
Clips. Yeah.
YouTube-ish, and then a longer one that would run, possibly using clips and stuff. Yeah.
Should hold a contest. Kids will do that for free.
I know, right? Exactly.
This one came up in the middle of it, and we thought we'd bring it to the board.
Yeah. Well, then, and ours won't be shown on the Discovery Channel and stuff.
No.
And you know how much it would cost you to show it on any of these
Actually,
stations?
you can
expensive.
usually after 11 you can buy cheap.
Yeah.
$100 you get you on a major one, but
Really?
it's late. Yeah.
Well, and the final thing that I'll note is that there's a choice of law provision in here
I'm aware of that.
for the state of Florida.
Yes.
Perhaps the village attorney could explain the significance of that to us.
Well, invariably, I don't like it, and I strike them from contracts, but this was short order, time crunch, and so what that means is if there's a dispute and litigation ensues, it would be governed by Florida law per this contract, and worse yet, the venue for that would be Broward County, Florida. So that is, 99 out of 100 times I would strike that, but given the nature of this contract, I decided to not jeopardize the contract with changes of that nature and let it go. I would prefer to strike it. I would support striking that provision and making it Illinois law in Florida, but I'm aware of that, and it caused me concern, but given the nature of the contract and sort of one-shot kind of deal, I did not.
Well, I'll make that motion.
To approve it, striking that sentence?
Well, why don't we start with, I'll move to strike the Florida choice of law provision. I mean, I'm going to vote against the measure, but if the measure is going to go through, we should strike that Florida law. Because if there is an issue, we should not litigate this $19,000 case down in Florida.
You're right.
And there's no nexus between, well, I'll leave it at that, strike that.
Any other discussion?
He made a motion.
He made a
Motion
motion
is
to
a second.
strike. There's not been a second.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Ranke, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro to strike the jurisdiction venue for the particular contract in question. The clerk, please call the roll on that.
Trustee Ahrens?
Can we have some discussion before we take the vote?
This is just to strike that particular sentence that reads.
And if it cannot be struck, does that mean we do not accept the contract?
They probably won't accept it.
They may or may not accept that. What I would.
Then I would vote no.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
No.
Ranke?
Yes.
You need to vote.
President Wallace?
Yes. The motion carries to strike the... So now it's, I'm assuming, is a moot point if we don't think they're going to approve it. So,
well, no, I'll talk to them and.
We should probably entertain a motion to table this.
That would be one way to do it. You could approve it without that, and I could try and negotiate that it would be Illinois that controlled, and then a dispute be either Cook or DuPage County. That's one option. Or you could table it. I thought there was urgency.
I think there is a timeline, right, Jim?
I beg your pardon?
Isn't there a timeline, like a...
Yeah, they do have a timeline, and they would like us to agree to this contract. I don't know about the deletion of the state issue, and they would like it to be this week.
One alternative would be to approve it with substitute language that provides that Illinois law governs, and venue would be in Cook or DuPage County, Illinois.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
So we've already made a motion to strike their language, and now we're making a motion to rewrite it.
Just that sentence.
Moved by Trustee Ranky, seconded by Trustee Camerer to rewrite the language on the bottom of the contract to apply Illinois law to any jurisdictional litigation. Is that accurate?
And venue would be in the Circuit Court of DuPage County or Cook County.
Cook or DuPage. Okay.
Let them choose.
Yeah, giving them.
There's no discussion on that. The clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
The motion carries. And was there original motion to pass this?
So then it would be, I don't know if there was, I don't think there was a motion, original motion to pass it, I don't recall. No. So now it would be a motion to approve of this agreement as amended.
I'll make that a motion to
Second.
as amended.
Motion by Trustee Camerer, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro to approve the amended agreement.
Martin.
Or Martin.
I sneezed.
Oh. Guess sound alike. To approve the amended agreement, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
No.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
No.
3-2.
You need to vote if you want to approve it. Because it involves an expenditure of money and if the vote is 3-2, it would require the mayor's vote to pass.
President Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. President, that's it for Finance and Golf this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Do we need a break after that? Next item on the agenda is License and Ordinance Committee. Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. All items were covered under the consent agenda. I have nothing further.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Next item on our agenda under Standing Committee Reports is Police and Health Committee. Chairman Shipman is absent and has no report for us this evening. Item F under Standing Committee Reports is Public Works Committee for Chairman Ahrens.
Thank you. Our first, actually both agenda items deal, both 1 and 2 deal with bike path improvements. Schick Road Bike Path Easement, Far Hills Agreement, in order to complete the new bike path and pedestrian crossing at Schick Road and 59. An easement for a portion of the path is needed. The additional area is required because the village right-of-way near the proposed crossing is insufficient. So at this time, I would move to approve Resolution 1471, a resolution approving the grant of easement agreement between the Far Hills Homeowners Association and the Village of Bartlett.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Ahrens, seconded by Trustee Martin. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item number 2 is the Stearns Road Sidewalk Easement Forest Preserve Agreement. Again, to improve the pedestrian traffic there A 20-foot easement is needed to construct and maintain the sidewalk, as well as keeping pedestrians a safe distance from the Schick Road traffic. So at this time, I move to approve Resolution 14-72, a resolution approving the easement agreement between the Forest Preserve District of DuPage County and the Village of Bartlett for the construction, operation, and maintenance of recreational improvements in the Hawk Hollow Forest Preserve.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Aaron's, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
CAMERER?
Yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
That motion carries.
And our third agenda item, the internal auction of surplus equipment, was taken care of it with the consent agenda. And how's Dan doing? How are you doing? Yeah? Okay, you like the job? Okay, that's good. Okay, that's all the business I have.
You ask him to join the chamber?
Thank you, Chairman. Did you? Next item on the agenda is new business. At this point in the meeting, is there any new business for the good of the order? Hearing none, we'll move on to questions and answers. Board have any questions at this point?
Let me mention to all the other the trustees and the village president that the Illinois Municipal League annual conference is coming up. It's a good opportunity to go and learn a little bit more about government-type stuff. I went last year. It's a great learning opportunity, and you can bring all that stuff back here and have some more wonderful ideas. So I'd encourage everybody to go. I'll be there at least one of the days.
What day is it?
It's September.
Like, is it on a
It's
Wednesday?
like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay. Good.
When's our next discussion on water?
Next agenda. We have the responses that the board asked relative to about 5 or 6 questions, and we'll be presenting those next week, or at the next board meeting.
Very good. I would just add also Heritage Days is coming up, so this weekend. So everybody go participate.
And there's only 4 more shopping days till my birthday.
And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Ranky, seconded by Trustee, couldn't hear, Martin. The clerk, please call the roll. I can't tell which one you guys are.
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
CAMERER?
Yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
We are adjourned. We'll move right